Deuteronomy chapter 32, verses 44 through 52, chapter 34, verses 1 through 12, and Joshua chapter 1, verses 1 through 9. Moses came along with Hoshea son of Nun and spoke all the words of this song in the hearing of the people. Then when Moses had finished speaking all of these words to all Israel, he also said to them, "Direct your heart to all the words that I am calling as a witness against you today. Instruct your children with them so that they may be careful to carry out all the words of this law, for it is not empty talk for you, because it is your life. By this word you will live long on the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess." On this same day the Lord spoke to Moses, "Go up to Mount Nebo, this mountain of the Abarim range, which is in the land of Moab opposite Jericho, and view the land of Canaan that I am giving to the people of Israel as a possession, and die on the mountain that you are about to ascend and be gathered to your people, just as Aaron your brother died on Mount Hor and was gathered to his people. This will happen because you broke faith with me among the people of Israel at the waters of Meribah Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin, by not treating me as holy among the people of Israel. You may view the land from a distance, but you will not go into the land that I am giving to the people of Israel." Moses went up from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, opposite Jericho, and the Lord showed him the whole land, the territory of Gilead as far as Dan, all of Naphtali, the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, the whole land of Judah as far as the Mediterranean Sea, the Negev, and the Kikar as far as Zoar, that is, the plain in the valley around Jericho, the city of palms. Then the Lord said to him, "This is the land that I swore to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, when I said I will give it to your descendants. I have let you see it with your eyes, but you will not cross over to it." So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab as the Lord had said. The Lord buried him in the valley in the land of Moab opposite Beth Peor, but no one knows his burial place to this day. Moses was 120 years old at his death. His eyes had not grown dim, and his vigor had not declined. So the children of Israel wept for Moses in the Arabah of Moab for 30 days. Then the days of weeping and mourning for Moses came to an end. Now Joshua son of Nun was filled with the spirit of wisdom because Moses had laid his hands on him, so the people of Israel listened to him and did just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Never again has a prophet risen in Israel like Moses, who knew the Lord face to face. Moses performed all the signs and wonders that the Lord sent him to do in the land of Egypt against Pharaoh and against all his officials and his whole land. No other prophet ever displayed all of the mighty power and the great, awesome deeds that Moses did in the sight of all Israel. This is what happened after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord. The Lord said to Joshua son of Nun, the attendant of Moses, "Moses my servant is dead. So prepare to cross the Jordan River that lies in front of you. You and all this people, prepare to go into the land that I am about to give to the people of Israel. I have given you every place where the sole of your foot has stepped, just as I promised Moses. From the wilderness and from Lebanon to the great river, the Euphrates River, all the land of the Hittites as far as the Mediterranean Sea, where the sun sets, this will be your territory. No one will be able to stand against you all the days of your life. Just as I was with Moses, I will be with you. I will not abandon you, and I will not forsake you. Be strong and courageous, because you will divide this land among these people, this land which I swore to their fathers that I would give to this people. Just be strong and very courageous. Be careful to act according to the entire law which my servant Moses commanded for you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, so that you may succeed wherever you go. This book of the law must never depart from your mouth, and you are to meditate on it day and night, so that you will act faithfully according to everything written in it, because then you will prosper in everything you do, and you will succeed. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified and do not be overwhelmed, because the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Joshua chapter 5 verse 13 through chapter 6 verse 25. When Joshua was at Jericho, he looked up and saw a man was standing right there in front of him with a drawn sword in his hand. Joshua went to him and said, "Are you one of us or one of our enemies?" The man said, "Neither. I have now come as the commander of the army of the Lord." Joshua fell with his face to the ground and worshipped. Then he said to him, "What does my Lord have to say to his servant?" The commander of the army of the Lord said to Joshua, "Take your sandals off your feet, because the place where you are standing is holy." So Joshua did so. Jericho was shut up tight because of the Israelites. There was no one going out and no one coming in. So the Lord said to Joshua, "See, I have given Jericho and its king into your hands even though they are strong warriors. You shall march around the city with all the fighting men. Circle the city 1 time. Do this for 6 days. 7 priests shall carry 7 special ram's horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day you shall march around the city 7 times with the priests blowing the ram's horns. When there is a long blast on the special ram's horn of Jubilee, when you hear the sound of the ram's horn, all the people shall shout with a loud war cry. Then the wall of the city will collapse on itself, and the people will go up into the city, one man after another." So Joshua son of Nun called for the priests and said to them, "Lift up the ark of the covenant, and 7 priests shall carry 7 special ram's horns in front of the ark of the Lord." Then he said to the people, "Move out. March around the city. The armed contingent shall march in front of the ark of the Lord." When Joshua had given orders to the people, the 7 priests with the 7 special ram's horns moved forward in front of the Lord, blowing the ram's horns continuously, with the ark of the covenant of the Lord following them. The armed contingent was marching ahead of the priests, who were blowing the ram's horns, and the rearguard was following the ark. The priests kept blowing the ram's horns as they went. But to the people Joshua had given the order, "Do not shout and do not let your voice be heard. Do not let a word go out of your mouth until the day I say to you, 'Shout.' Then you shall shout." So he had the ark of the Lord go around the city, sending it out to circle the city 1 time. Then they came back to the camp and spent the night there. Then Joshua got up early in the morning, and the priests lifted up the ark of the Lord. The 7 priests with the 7 special ram's horns moved forward in front of the ark of the Lord, blowing the ram's horns continuously. The armed contingent was marching in front of them, and the rearguard was following behind the ark of the Lord. The priests kept blowing the ram's horns as they went. They marched around the city 1 time on the 2nd day, and then they returned to the camp. They did this for 6 days. Then on the 7th day they got up early, at daybreak, and they marched around the city 7 times, following the directions they had been given. It was only on the 7th day that they marched around the city 7 times. Then on the 7th time, the priests blew the ram's horns, and Joshua said to the people, "Shout, because the Lord has given you the city. The city will be devoted to destruction. The city and everything in it will be devoted to the Lord. Only Rahab the prostitute will live, she along with all who are with her in the house, because she hid the agents whom we sent. But you must keep away from the things devoted to destruction, or you will make yourselves subject to destruction by taking some of the devoted things, and you will make the camp of Israel subject to destruction and bring disaster upon it. But all the silver and gold and the articles of bronze and iron are sacred to the Lord. They must go into the treasury of the Lord." So the people shouted, and the priests blew the ram's horns. When the people heard the sound of the ram's horns, they shouted with a loud war cry. Then the wall collapsed on itself, and the people went up into the city, one man after another. So they captured the city. Then they applied the decree of destruction by the edge of the sword to everything that was in the city, both men and women, young and old, and also the oxen, sheep, and donkeys. To the 2 men who had spied on the land Joshua said, "Go to the house of the prostitute and bring out the woman and everyone who belongs to her, just as you swore to her." So the young men who had acted as spies went and brought out Rahab, her father, her mother, her brothers, and everyone who belonged to her. They brought out all her family members, and they settled them outside the camp of Israel. But the city and everything in it they burned with fire. Only the silver and gold and the bronze and iron vessels were placed into the treasury of the house of the Lord. But Joshua spared the lives of Rahab the prostitute and her father's household and everyone who belonged to her, and she has lived within Israel to this day, because she hid the agents that Joshua sent to spy on Jericho.